Acabo de entrar, no estaba serio. No quería interrumpir.
We were just saying hi.
Sí, sí, eso oí. Pero aún así no quería interrumpir.
Profe, ya
Bien,
se curó, ya se alivió totalmente.
sí, yo me haya dado cuenta.
Ah,
Ya sabes que de repente hay secuelas. Pero pues, yo creo que ya estoy bien.
Seguramente fue el buen mezcal de Oaxaca que se tomó.
No me gusta el mezcal ni el tequila. Yo lo sé, yo lo sé.
Ah, perdón. Quizás fue un buen whisky entonces.
Sí, whisky y ron, me declaro culpable, me gustan. Bien, buenas noches a todos. Hola, hola. ¿Y alguien tiene alguna duda? Si no, para empezar, no tengo una idea de esas que se me ocurren. Bueno, supongo que nadie va a preguntar. No somos tantos, ya se irán conectando. Bien, les explico esto en español para que no queden dudas, ya saben. Bueno, a partir del tiempo que llevan de conocerme, algunos ya se habrán dado cuenta de los intereses que tengo y uno de los que más me gusta es la filosofía. Desde que era pues, bastante niño me gustaba leer de eso, aunque a veces no lo entendía, pero hasta la fecha es algo que me interesa mucho. Ya sé que la filosofía puede ser inútil para muchos, pero no está de más, de repente. Bien, vamos a hacer algo muy sencillo. Esto es algo que le va a gustar a los compañeros que hablan bastante. Am, yo les voy a poner una cita de algún filósofo famoso. Si les interesa, les digo de quién es y vamos a comentar qué tanto puede aplicar. Comenten lo que quieran respecto a eso. Puede ser que aplique en la actualidad, que están de acuerdo, que están en desacuerdo, no sé. Lo que quiero es iniciar una bonita conversación con ustedes. Déjenme compartirles mi pantalla porque las voy a ir escribiendo en documento. Yo creo que ya todos pueden ver mi pantalla, ¿verdad? Para lo más grandecito. A ver. Obviamente se las voy a poner en inglés, ¿verdad? Un segundo. Para tener esto cerca. Esa es la cita. To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Iván.
La traducción sería para vivir y sufrir, para sobrevivir es encontrar una manera de sufrir.
No exactamente. La traducción sería vivir es sufrir. Sobrevivir es encontrar algún significado en el sufrimiento.
Ok.
¿Va? Ahora, ¿qué opinan de esta? Veo muy pensativa a Sandra, a los demás no los veo. Bastante famosa esta cita, por cierto. Uno de los filósofos más importantes del siglo XX. Creador bueno, no creador, pero sí de los mejores representantes del nihilismo. ¿Nietzsche? ¿Sandra?
Teacher, somehow I am agree with this Nietzsche. It's called Nietzsche. How do I pronounce the philosopher name in English? Nietzsche, Frederick. I think that as a humans, more than what we see, what is outside, we breathe a lot of suffering in ourselves. Because in the way that As a humans, we think we think from a way that we are always has to be with the culture also, where we grow up. But the tendency also always is just
Sandra, tu audio está malo.
give me just one moment, sorry. God. Do you hear?
Yes, pero está cerrado tu micrófono.
Rafa, thank you so much for letting me know, because if I just say my thoughts and then saying everyone, oh, we didn't hear you. Teacher, no, sorry, is a very very deep thing. But what I want to say is that I think that we as a humans, we come more than what is outside. We came with a lot inner suffering. I think that in many ways, in the way that we think about how we see life in negative way, we have a brain that is very judgmental about everything. Always we are judgmental everything that is happening around us, and unfortunately they are more negative than positive, because judgmental could be positive and negative, but in somehow as a humans we try always to turn things in the wrong way, in the, oh, this world is so bad, always we are lacking that perspective. And the thing also that I think that we always worry about what is going to happen in the future, and for sure when we think about a lot in the future, that brings a lot anxiety in ourselves, and for sure suffering. That's why it's so important when they say you have to live the present day by day, one day at a time. You have to be worried about what is happening today, and not to worry about what was the past and what is the future. And there is a little story. I don't know if I can share with you, but it's something that for me is very, very meaningful. Has a lot meaning for me. There was a king that he wanted the most beautiful painting that represents peace. Okay, and he did like a contest in his kingdom for that beautiful painting. In the final, there were different paintings, some with the ocean, some with the sky, very calm. But there was one that was on a painting that brings a lot, like a torment, like a lot clouds in the sky. But in middle of that, there was a little bird under a little rock, wet, but in a state of calm. And the painting win because the life or the learning that you had to go through your life is that understanding how you are going to manage your emotions, your being in the difficult times. And it's there when you find a lot meaningful in your life. That you are able to go through all the situations, that that they are problems that need your attention, but those things cannot take your peace. That's something that I think about this Mitchell saying or whatever. Sorry if I took so long as always.
Don't worry, I always enjoy your answers. But in this case, I have a very different approach to this quote. You know, I think that obviously I'm taking my experience reading Nietzsche into consideration for thinking this. I think that as humans, like you said, we tend to pursue happiness as a goal, as a mental or life state. But for me, at least, in reality, happiness is brief. Happiness is just a moment. And sometimes we pass our lives, we live our lives chasing those moments. But in the end, they are ephemeral, right? And if you put all your life in a balance, probably, I'm just talking by my experience, probably the bad things are going to be a lot more in quantity than the good ones. But when you put those two things in a balance, it could be balanced, or maybe the good ones are going to be heavier, you know, even as they are less, they are heavier. So, for me, that meaning in the suffering are those moments of happiness. I do not live a happy life in terms of,
Michelle,
oh, I'm
sorry,
feeling
sorry.
fine.
Can you repeat the last part that I didn't understand? The last part that you say about uh, the happiness.
Well, I don't know which part of you talking about, but I said that if you put the good things and the bad things in a scale, in balance, probably the good ones are going to be less. There are more bad things in our lives, but probably the good ones should be heavier, should be more. They are going to weigh more than the bad ones, even when they are less. That's my point of view with this. And the last thing I was telling you is that I do not live a happy life, meaning that I'm not happy all the time. I live and I cherish moments, the good and bad ones. But in the end, I have these like stars in my life, those moments that make me happy, make or made me happy, or will make me happy. That's what I'm chasing. But that's the understanding that I have about this quote. Nevertheless, I think both are quite interesting because they reflect a very personal um, introspective. Very good, Sandra. Thank you. ¿Alguien más? Y de los 35 que hay, solo Sandra va a decir algo. ¿No?
Es que el problema es que siempre somos los mismos que estamos hablando. O sea, estamos dándole la oportunidad de que, por ejemplo, ahí está Edgar, que puede comunicarse y que siempre anda bien de wiri wiri, ahorita no dice nada.
Sorry, ya presente y ¿qué más te digo? No, es que me quedé en la plática, no supe el tema, pero ya estoy presente.
Ok, para los que entraron tarde, aprovechando, yo les estoy poniendo una cita de algún filósofo famoso, en este caso fue Nietzsche, y quiero que me den su opinión. Ya Sandra dio la suya, yo compartí la mía. Yo sé que luego son los mismos los que hablan, pero también eso hace que se animen los demás.
No, y es que da miedo, profe, da miedo. Cuando uno entra después del tema, da miedo.
Miren, pues no creo que dé miedo. Yo creo que la filosofía es algo que todos pueden hacer. A cierto nivel es algo que todos hacemos de una u otra forma. Yo creo que todos en algún momento nos hemos preguntado el porqué de las cosas de una manera no tan científica. Sí debo admitir que la filosofía no da respuestas, sino que crea más preguntas. Pero pues en algún momento yo creo que todos hemos tenido la duda de por qué estamos aquí. Sandra.
Solo quería agregar a lo que el profe decía y al miedo de Edgar sobre la filosofía, que desafortunadamente en la manera como nos enseñaron, de que nos daban información y digamos que, por ejemplo, cuando yo vi filosofía, pues obviamente la veía como aburrida porque nunca la profesora nos hizo realmente cuestionarnos, aplicarlo a nuestra propia vida. Era más como lean el escritor y traten de entender lo que él quería decir. Y más porque al menos yo crecí en una cultura donde el que preguntaba era el bobo, ¿para qué preguntas? Que a uno hasta el miedo le daba a preguntar, cuando realmente la verdadera educación parte de esos cuestionamientos, de esas diferencias. Entonces, yo invito nuevamente a todos que cuando hablamos de filosofía, obviamente tenemos una fuente que son los filósofos que trajeron, pero yo creo que la filosofía tiene que ver mucho en cómo vemos cada uno el mundo, ¿cierto? De esos cuestionamientos que tenemos frente a la vida, frente a los que nos pasa, las crisis existenciales que traen todo este tipo de inquietudes en nuestra vida. Eso es una manera de hacer filosofía, de tratar de buscar respuestas a esas preguntas fundamentales y básicas en nuestra vida.
Bueno, yo ahí quería agregar con Sandra en mi comentario, creo, y en el comentario que hizo Rafa, el miedo no es el participar. Yo creo que el miedo, porque a mí me pasó, creo que las primeras clases, el miedo es no encajar en la clase. Creo que a veces el opinar y no saber, creo que haces un tipo de ridículo que uno mismo se genera ese miedo, no querer hacer ridículo, pero más que nada, si uno no experimenta el estar participando, porque yo ya lo he dicho en otras clases, si uno no experimenta estar participando, uno no va a poder aprender, uno no va a agarrar el ritmo, uno no va a poder tener el diálogo, uno no va a poder entender una plática. Entonces, para todos los compañeros nuevos, ahora no me toca ser el nuevo, pero sí participemos, aunque sean en español, quizás el profe nos va a ayudar, y tengo unos compañeros bien crack que son buenos para el inglés, que nos van a ayudar, nos van a motivar, y participen porque es parte de la clase. Creo que todos venimos a aprender, y aprender una cosa de participar deja mucha enseñanza, porque hay gente que sí nos puede apoyar.
Nada más que agregar ahí, ya lo dijeron todo. Tampoco les estoy diciendo que hagan, se los repito, no les estoy diciendo que hagan una tesis acerca de lo que estamos hablando. Puede haber opiniones pequeñas, simples, pero que les van a ayudar. Acá nadie los va a juzgar. Menos yo. Si me vuelven a calificar con 3, esos que nunca hablan en la clase, pues sí, los va a juzgar. Pero los que participan, los que están hablando y todo, jamás, acá todos estamos para ayudarnos. Y lo han visto. Yo no estoy inventando eso.
Sí, eso es cierto, profe. Al único que yo puedo juzgar es a Rafael. Ya sabes, Rafa, donde estés.
Es que me quiere mucho, por eso me juzga y luego me ataca.
Ay, no. Raquel, adelante.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Ahorita estoy hablando en español. No tengo la oportunidad de conectarme constantemente. De hecho, ahorita estoy en mi trabajo. Agarré unos minutos para poder acceder. Estoy de acuerdo en que nos causa nervios. Pero aquí voy. A ver qué tal le hago. Con respecto a la frase, vivir es sufrir, sobrevivir es encontrarle un sentido al sufrimiento, yo lo estoy enfocando en mi vida. Throughout life, we experience the loss of important people. In my case, my father. However, I am grateful for having had in my life and for all the beautiful moments and lessons I was done chant any of it, as those memories and teaching are what I carry within me and what gives me as the foundation of my life. No sé qué tal lo hice.
Muy bien, Raquel. Sí, excelente. Ahora, Cuando hagan ese tipo de ejercicios, si quieren, si hay alguna palabra que no sepan cómo se pronuncia o algo, díganme. O la pueden escribir en el chat. Yo ahorita estoy como locutor respondiendo en el chat también, entonces siempre trato de estar atento. Si no les contesto es porque luego se me va la onda. Pero muy bien, esa es la idea, Raquel, empezar a hacerlo. Excelente. Y lo que decías, ¿no? O sea, esos momentos son los importantes. Muy bien.
Así es. Muchas gracias.
No, de qué, Raquel. Melanie, bueno, vi que levantaste la mano, luego la bajaste, no sé. Rafael.
En la primera frase, it captures the profound idea that life is a struggle, right? And pain is unavoidable. I mean, there's nothing you can do that will stop your pain, any kind of pain. It could just be somebody's death or being sick or all the struggles that you go through life, and it leads you to probably a personal growth and eventually, essentially, become a better person.
Rafael, you mentioned something quite interesting there. Do you think that personal growth always leads to be a better person?
In some cases, I think it does, not in every single case, but I think that for the most part, it does. It helps us as a human being to probably learn from those mistakes and be just a better person overall.
So we are talking about a moral state of man with that. What do you think?
Gee, I guess I could only speak for myself. I went through stuff. I was a piece of crap as I was younger. I saw life a whole different way. And after going through life and going through all kinds of different struggles that I've been through, I think I consider myself better moral person than I was like 10 years ago. So for me, I think it does.
Yeah, for me too. But I always had that question, if personal growth necessarily means to become a better person in a moral way. Maybe you can become a perfect dictator, a perfect despot. I don't know if you're in government or something like that. And it's personal growth because you're learning how to do things better, but maybe not as moral as philosophy could. Not demand. I don't know. Very good. That's very good. An interesting approach, I think. Thank you, Rafael. Luz.
Hi, good night, everybody. My opinion about the first phrase that you have there is that it's my perspective about my life, my experience, because every person, I think that is the reflection of that one, and every life that they have or their experience. But in my perspective is that if you want to have a better life, there will always be suffering. Sometimes you're gonna be, you need to sacrifice a lot of things to live a lot of people, but that one is gonna have a good result over the years. But I think that the suffering is gonna take a lot of time to have a result. So I think that sometimes you need to suffer to have a better result, or to see the things or the experience of the life or the change of your personality things is to have a better person. So in my opinion is that.
Okay. That's a very Christian related philosophy, improvement through suffering.
Why?
Because that is. Read the Bible. If you have
Yeah.
to suffer to improve.
Yeah, but sometimes the suffer, if you suffer, you be a better person. You saw the things so different, like other opinion.
Definitely, in my opinion and in my experience, I prefer not to suffer. I prefer to learn. And if I
Yeah,
can,
but it's inevitable. You cannot say, I don't want to suffer. It's like a kid. You don't want to say that the kid want to suffer. But sometimes it's like that. They need to suffer to learn other things.
I don't know. I have this idea. I try, and that's why I'm a very big fan of Nietzsche. I try to keep myself away from this Judeo-Christian philosophy because most of it goes that way. You have to suffer to learn. You have to suffer to reach heaven. You have to suffer. And I think that one of the main points in philosophy is precisely to have the knowledge, if you want, or maybe the ability to foresee and avoid that suffering. Obviously, you're going to be put in some situations that you cannot avoid. You simply have to go through that. But I don't know. This could spark a very interesting conversation.
I-
But give me a second. Yeah. Sorry, Luz. Yes.
No. Yeah, you have the right. But the problem is that it's like a mistake. If you don't have a mistake in your life,
Yeah,
you don't learn. No, it's something like that. It's not I want the kids suffer. No, but sometimes you cannot control that one.
of
So
course.
it's inevitable to have that one. So sometimes I think that phrase is that the life sometimes you need to sacrifice too much to have a better life. So if you want to have a better life, is to suffer because you sacrifice, I don't know, friendship, money, effort, your time. So if you solve like that, you are suffer one of your things or personal things that you need to sacrifice to have a better life or a better result. So it's like the mistake. The mistake. Everybody we are a human being, so you can have a mistake. So if you have a mistake, in my opinion, you learn about that one, and you change your perspective sometimes of the life. Sometimes there are people that don't change, but there are some people that change. So I think that the suffer is a level, depend what kind of suffer do you have in your life or what kind of mistake do you have, and is what the people learn or not.
Definitely. I had enough suffering in my life to know that I don't want to have any more. Obviously, I have not suffered like some other people, but me, my world, my circumstances. Yeah, that I told you this could spark a very interesting.
That I talk about my perspective of my life, my
Of
experience,
course.
because every person has a different childhood experience,
Yeah.
life. So
Un filósofo, se los digo en español porque el filósofo es español, Ortega y Gasset, uno de mis favoritos, dice: Yo soy yo y mi circunstancia. Iris, habías levantado la mano. ¿Quieres comentar algo?
Okay, teacher, but it's not the same.
Don't
It's
worry.
about the fear it's about the fear is a reaction and courage is a decision. But that is okay. That is the reason that I don't say the same the suffer. No, about the suffer is different. I think when I have fears in my life, for example, to how can I say to fear the higher, or to I mean,
¿Alturas?
yes,
Heights.
heights. And for me, it's difficult when I how aventarse. I don't know, but
Oh,
the last year, I went to the airplane and for I don't know what's the word is aventarse for down, or how can I say that, to the
okay.
parachute.
Parachuting.
Skydiving.
Yeah, the
skydiving, sorry, yes.
skydiving. For me, I have afraid for 1 week to think about this idea. I can sleep for one week. But when I fall down, or how can I fall down to the parachute, I really, for me, it's fantastic. It was fantastic, and I suppose I want to repeat that moment. I want to repeat, and that is for in this case, I have, or I how can I say, when on this feel the courage to take this decision. Mhm. Well,
That surely took a lot of nerve.
uh-huh.
I'm so afraid of heights too, but
Mhm.
especially because one person, I managed to do some things about that. For example, last December I went to this park, and I forgot the name in English. Sorry, las tirolesas, zip tie. I'm not sure. I don't remember the name,
I don't know.
but you know what those are, right?
Zipline?
Zipline, yes, yes. I didn't know if it had another name, but I was so afraid because one was 50 meters, and I was like, "What the hell? I'm not staying here. I have to do it." And one thing that I want to do is skydiving, but until now, I'm a little bit scared yet.
For me,
Oh,
it's 13,000 feet. And it's just, I'm scared, but I try to stay in uh, quiet and no pressure. And it's
yeah, and after that, I could assume that you had one of the best experiences in your life after doing that, because it's not only the adrenaline, it's also that you conquered a fear, and in the end, that's it. Obviously, we can talk courage in different ways, but in this case, you are mastering your own fears, and I think that's awesome. Very good, thank you, Iris. Excellent,
you're welcome.
Sandra.
Teacher, I have a question for you. Because you told that you take a part of the Christian way to think because you don't like the approach of the suffering. And I have a question for you. What is suffering for you meaning? What is the meaning for you for that word?
That's an excellent question, Sandra, and that's, I think it's the root of my answer. For me, suffering is in the Judeo-Christian way. I have to clarify that, is this idea of you have to suffer in earth to gain access to heaven, and that's a very convenient way of speech when when we know that there were a lot of poor people that were promised, okay, don't worry, you're suffering now, but in the afterlife you're going to be great. And for me, suffering is any unnecessary pain that you have to go through in order to achieve. I'm no martyr, and I accept that. But like
Sorry, teacher, did you say unnecessary? Unnecessary thing?
unnecessary, pero yo dije no soy un mártir.
Oh, okay.
I'm
No,
not.
no,
No,
but did you say innecesario? Algo innecesario? Oh, okay.
yes, obviously, like I was telling Luz, you're going to be put in some situations in your life that you cannot avoid, and you are going to suffer, and that's for sure. When you lose someone, when you are in a bad situation, when you have not the tools or the wits to solve things, you're going to suffer, and sometimes it could be because of you, because one of my main ideas in life to approach this problem solving in my life is how am I in this situation, and I can tell you 99% of the time is because I was so stupid. I was unable to foresee the consequences, and I'm learning, yeah, but I'm here because you name it. But
Mm,
any unnecessary suffering to reach heaven for me is not
But what is just I have a question. What is the unnecessary suffering? Because life comes with challenges. You know,
Ah,
and sometimes it's easy for people to take like the place of be a victim in their lives and to accuse others for their suffering and don't take responsibility. And that's one of the biggest suffering in this life, because people, they don't take responsibility and they don't know how to listen themselves, and they don't know how to listen others. But now I have another question for you, teacher. I'm sorry, but uh, what do you call unnecessary? That's kind of calls my attention, and that question comes with another one. What things, simple things in your life, fulfill your life when you say everyone is pursuing happiness in life? What are those simple things that make you fulfill in yourself, that you feel really happy and with inner peace, that you are in a state of mind that you say you feel so wonderful with yourself?
I'm a pretty well. A lot of people are going to tell you different, but I think that I'm a really simple kind of man. One thing that made me instantly happy, being with my dog. Second thing that makes me absolutely happy is when I'm playing a gig, a concert, and I can connect with people that they are feeling my music. Another thing, when I'm playing and I can play something that yesterday maybe I couldn't. Another thing, that to eat something, it doesn't have to be big. Something that tastes really good, and you feel like, oh, this is delicious. And the most important thing, because I know that the previous one could be very vain, could be very mundane in terms. One thing that makes me absolutely happy is seeing people success. It doesn't have to be someone I know, but when I see someone who struggle, who work hard for something, and I see them success, that gives me an instant feel of happiness.
Teacher, and how do you feel when you are able to serve somebody else?
To what, sorry?
Serve somebody, to help
Like
somebody.
to help.
Okay, yeah, I live to serve. I'm a teacher, and that's one of the main reasons I became a teacher.
Did
uh,
that make you happy?
yeah, of course, I absolutely love being useful to people, but sometimes, and I learned this the hard way, I've been used, and I don't like that.
Yeah, just my point is just to say that, like when you approach suffering as a Christian, that, oh, you're suffering, I think that is challenge in your life when you have to stretch yourself from the comfort zone to do something, and then sometimes, in my case, that I believe in the higher power as a God. When you feel that He's calling you for something else, uh, as Luz say, life is choices. You have to choose every single day in your life. You chose if you wake up 10 minutes before or 10 minutes late, and every decision has a consequence in your life. You decide if you take a green tea, or you decide if you take a alcohol, or if you eat the bread or something. Everything brings consequence in your life. And my point with this is that I agree with Luz, because pretty much is that your life is a challenges, and if you wanted to grow up, you have to accept it. But it's in the way that you see your world, that you see is a challenge, is something that is trying to make me to grow up, or you see every situation as a victim, as suffering. Oh, why this happened to me? Why I had to do this? It's different in the way you see things. And when I say, when what make you fulfill, and I think that when you say connect with somebody like your dog, we are talking about connection, about love, about helping others. And that's the essential thing as a Christians, That's my way to think, that for me to help others, to see happiness in other person, that I can do something to see that somebody is happy, or to see that somebody smile, that things make me happy. And I think that for me this life is a story of love between you and to God. That's simple for me, teacher. Sorry if I took so long again, but for me, that's my way to think about all these, the topic that you brought today to the class, teacher. Thank you.
And you're completely right, Sandra. I think that maybe it could be a different approach, but in the end, I'm against Judeo-Christian philosophy in terms of suffering, like I told you. But at the same time, I think that maybe people like Saint Thomas have changed the way of thinking for humans, and it's Christian. And I'm saying that's wrong. In my case, I prefer a more an agnostic approach to life, but it doesn't mean that I think that there's nothing beyond our comprehension. And at the same time, I think that if you don't help others, probably your life is going to be quite simple and not in the good way. That's just an idea. Rafael, yes.
Yo apenas iba a ofrecer las chelas, pero luego entraron ya muy acá y me quedé callado. No, I think que lo que Luz estaba queriendo decir era más bien, no tanto como, no era sufrimiento como tal y de dolor, era más el sacrificio que a veces tienes que hacer para tener una vida mejor.
English, Rafa, English.
Oh, sorry, it's because I forgot my English.
What happened?
No, so going back to the religion thing, I'm not a religious guy, but I do believe in a higher power, right? I think that the fact that, see, a loving God, like the Bible shows us, doesn't want you to suffer. Does not want you to suffer. I think the suffering happens because of the bad decisions that we make, and we put ourselves in that situation, and we suffer because we want it. Because if you make changes in your life, you shouldn't have to suffer. Now, there's things that you can't control that are going to eventually create issues and possibly pain, but I don't believe in suffering to become a better person per se, because God doesn't want you to suffer. At least that's what I believe. Everybody has a different way of thinking and seeing things, but in my perspective, that's what I believe. And everybody has the right to think differently.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we can agree on. Everyone can and should think differently. That's pretty good. Edgar.
Profe, yo quería leer la última frase que escribió, que es fear is unreason, courage is decision. Creo que entendí que el miedo era una reacción, el coraje es una decisión, a lo que entendí de esa frase. Pero la frase que yo le quería decir a mis compañeros, a los nuevos principalmente, todas las cosas que tienen algo de dificultad te parecen imposibles. Confía en el tiempo, que suele dar dulces y amargas dificultades. Creo que eso me lo había leído en una poesía de Don Quijote. Si no nos valoramos nosotros primero, nadie lo hará. Igual, opinen, participen, pierdan el miedo, porque pues, si no perdemos el miedo no vamos a poder reaccionar ante nada.
¿Ahora en inglés? Muy bien, sí.
En inglés quieres que te lo lea, Rafa. Yo sé. Y Sandra también.
No, tú también.
Yo nada más quería decirle algo a Edgar, porque creo que es importante que todos participemos y está bien, Estaba pensando yo, por ejemplo, ahorita él leyó la última frase. Creo que a lo mejor sería bueno que el profe ayudara a la clase a lo mejor a leerlo para que después todos podamos entenderlo o ayudar a la pronunciación, ¿no? Porque ahorita escuchando a Edgar en reaction, por ejemplo, oí una palabra totalmente diferente. Entonces, si estamos queriendo aprender, no es por joderte, sino es para ayudar
No.
el lenguaje.
Créeme que yo no lo tomo de esa manera, Rafa. Créeme que yo sé que estoy con unos crap, que eres tú, Sandra, Noé, pues, también tiene un diálogo bien perfecto, el profesor, pero el problema aquí no es que ustedes solo participen, el problema es que nadie queremos abrir la boca. Cuando somos nuevos tenemos mucho miedo, la verdad sí tenemos mucho miedo, pero si nos vamos desplayando poquito a poquito, siempre el profesor está bien atento, siempre nos va a dar la mano, créanlo. Y yo he recibido la mano de ustedes 4 y muchas gracias por ello. Le tengo mucho aprecio a los 4 y pues si yo me equivoco, yo no estoy, no sé cómo te podría decir la palabra, yo no estoy que me avergüenzo, pues, o que me parezca mal que me corrijas, no, la verdad no. Yo vine aquí a enseñarme y a participar. Creo que es una parte importante de la que yo tomé cuando decidí volver a estudiar, porque después de 20 y tantos años, créeme, se me dificultó nuevamente el estudio, no nomás para el inglés, para todas las materias, y créeme que participando me he podido desplayar un poquito, y creo que la mayoría de los compañeros que no han estudiado, que ya tenemos algo de edad, creo que participar es lo más fundamental para poder entender.
Exactamente, sí. Bien. Iván, adelante.
Thanks, teacher. Bueno, in the third phrase, no sé si dije bien frase.
Third phrase.
Okay, third phrase. Fear is a reaction, courage is a decision. In my point of view, it's true. For example, in my life, when I to declare and my now girlfriend, I feel very fear. It's normal because bueno, lo hice en español esta parte. No sé qué me iba a decir, but I find the courage to say my love, and now we have 5 months together, and no sé cómo si se espera. Yo espero.
And I hope.
And I hope have many years and beyond.
Very good. Excellent, Ivan. Actually, that's the point. Another quote that could be in place here is, the first step is the most difficult one. El primer paso siempre es el más difícil. And yeah, to find the courage to do things, everything in life, I think it's the basic idea of living. Very good. Thank you, Ivan. Victoria, adelante.
Hi, good night. I understand the first question is about how is my love to suffer only time is correct?
Perdón, Victoria, la última parte no te entendí.
My love is suffer only time. Only time or is forever?
I suppose it depends.
Okay.
What do you think?
Only time.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, and that's what I like about these quotes. Could be very, very. They have a very personal interpretation, and sometimes it could lead to a discussion. I like a discussion always, but aprovecho para decirles algo, y gracias, Victoria, bastante bien. Nada más, igual, o sea, como ya lo mencionaron, nada más para que les quede como bien asentado. Si tienen dudas de cómo decir algo, pregúntenme. O a sus compañeros, como ya lo dijeron, ya no voy a repetirlo por cuarta, quinta vez, pero pues, siéntanse en confianza, créanme que a lo mejor no han participado tanto o no han entrado a tantas clases, pero siempre, siempre hay alguien que está dispuesto a ayudarlos. Yo, en primer lugar, obviamente, pero hay muchos compañeros que están dispuestos. Puede ser en el chat, pueden preguntar. Digo, ahorita de repente nos alargamos con las participaciones y todo, pero pues es la idea, ¿no? Perdón, Carlos, adelante.
Hi, teacher. Hi, friends. The quote which resonated with me was the one about fear, as it reflects my experience of leaving a stable job to start on my own business. It has been a long journey with a great deal of responsibility, but ultimately it's been very gratifying. I find listening and speak in English to be a change, but my comprehension of reading English is much stronger. Therefore, I use a translator to help me para participar en la clase, pues.
To participate in class. Muy bien, excelente, Carlos. Y sí, se requiere bastante coraje para hacer eso, pero pues al final hay una palabra que dijiste, gratificating. Usa esta mejor. Rewarding.
Ok.
Muy bien, excelente.
¿En qué cambia eso, profe?
Es que gratificating tiene un contexto distinto, gratification, than rewarding. Cuando hablamos de experiencias que son gratificantes, yo sé que en español suena casi igual, pero rewarding es como gratificación en español, que son una experiencia gratificante, es más para experiencias. Y cuando tú lo dices de la otra forma, es como más monetario. Puede ser si lo quieres decir así, ¿no? Pero rewarding es como más orientado a lo que tú querías decir.
Ah, ok. Muchas gracias, profe.
Nada. Excelente. Noé.
Hi, teacher. Good evening. Hi, guys. Well, actually, I don't like philosophy. Talk about that. And it's weird because I like the maths and all the biggest mathematics person were philosophers. How can I say that?
Philosophers.
But yeah, I don't know. Well, I want to talk about the first one. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. I don't agree with the first sentence about the to live is to suffer. I don't think so. I don't like that. I think to live is to live. Only that. You don't need to suffer to live. So, but talking about the second part, to survive is to find some meaning. Actually, that is my philosophy, if I can say that. I have this idea that something happens for a reason, for a reason. That is a goal at the end, a purpose at the end of what is happening. And I'm not talking about religious in a religious way. It's for maybe for learn, or maybe that won't. You had a goal, something happened, and that goal is not achieved anymore. So and maybe you will have another thing better. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that is my philosophy of my life.
One
Yeah.
thing that I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes when we have a more scientific approach to life, and I'm just saying this because you said that you enjoy math and things like that. Uh, Normally, philosophy is not like the best approach to solving things. Like I told you in the beginning of the class, the main problem with philosophy is that it doesn't give answers, only creates more questions. And it's completely opposite to science. Science needs to find answers, reasons, and laws. And philosophy, as any human or social science, it's never gonna happen. But like you said, you have your own philosophy, so it's quite contradictory. But trust me, I completely understand that because that's the way I feel. I try to be more philosophical, but at the same time, I need reason. If someone, and this is a very common thing, especially in funerals and things like that, if someone says to me, uh, "It was God's will," I'm probably gonna crack. I know that we live and we die, and sometimes you don't have a reason for that, but nevertheless, uh, yeah, like you said, things happen for a reason, and sometimes we don't fully understand that reason. Very good, thank you, Noé. Rafael.
I was just gonna comment on that second phrase, but I see other hands up, and it's almost the end of the class, so maybe somebody else wants to talk.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. Iris.
The same, I don't understand the second part. For example, talent hits a target no one can hit. Genius hits a target no one can see. For me, it's difficult to understand this phrase. Can
Ok.
you,
Toda la frase es el talento. Vamos a poner hits como le atina a un blanco que nadie más puede atinarle. La genialidad le atina a un blanco que nadie puede ver. Yo siento, o sea, siendo muy breves con esto, siento que se refiere a que la genialidad va a buscar esa oportunidad que nadie más está viendo. Así lo pondría yo, ¿no?
Okay, thank you. I don't understand, but I try to understand it.
¿Ya le entendí? ¿Ya le entendí, Iris?
A few, but no really.
Ok, o sea, pero ¿te refieres a la interpretación o al vocabulario?
The interpretation.
Ya, no, eso sí es más confuso. En eso, pues yo siento que esta va a tener, imagínate, no sé, odio a Tomás Alva Edison, pero admiro a Tesla. Entonces, te puedo decir, piensa que Nikola Tesla buscó solución a problemas que existían, pero buscó soluciones donde nadie estaba buscando. O sea, y eso lo hace un genio. También por eso me cae gordo Elon Musk. Es un Alba Edison. Pero piénsalo así. O sea, la genialidad está en buscar o en encontrar, porque eso es lo que dice, algo que nadie más está viendo. No, yo lo pondría así, ¿no? Daniela, adelante.
Hello, good night. I wanna talk about. I hear Noé say that don't like philosophy, but for me, I remember that I'm very. I was very young and I read very difficult books about philosophy, and it was very difficult for my mind and for my young um, edad. I don't know if mi joven edad, ¿no? I feel
Self.
that
Young
self. Okay. But I'm not very older. I'm 19 years old. But for me, the philosophy is like the ability or capacity, I don't know how you say, of amaze about um, small things, about the simple things, about the value things of the life. and it's very. I find a balance about philosophy and science because, well, I'm ballet dancer and I really love study the human body. I really love to study the psychology. That is a very difficult sciences, but also the philosophy. It's not useful, very como functional in the real life. But it's like a passion for me. I don't know. It's like mm, I really enjoy read, and I feel that give me some abilities of questions, answers, or tolerance about other ideas, to hear the other thinkings about the people, and mm, also I want to make a comment about the first race. mm, I want to talk about my experience like a high um, professional dancer, professional athlete. That it's, for example, like we have to train very a few hours a day. We have to use punches. We have to be careful with your body, with your diet. But it's like mm, it's not a suffering for me because mm, it's something like I love. It's something like I really I want to do, and also it's very important for me to study about my job because it's not only I hear for example, my friends, I don't eat any carbs, or I don't know. I know that the good things for my body. I know, I study, I hear the experts, and these things are not a suffering for me, but maybe for other person it's not functional for his life because she had or he has had to work and don't have time to do exercise, don't have time to be careful to your body. So I think it's very subjective. You have to find a balance about the subjective and the objective things, and I think it's everything. Thank you.
Very good. Yes, obviously finding that balance is quite difficult. I understand that. And yes, in general, I think that's it. Very good. Thank you, Daniela. Rafael?
Nada más quería poner la explicación que le di a Iris. Creo que no entendía la segunda frase. Lo escribí en el chat para ver si lo quería copiar después leerlo. A lo mejor le ayudaba a entender la cuota esa del talento. Pero muy buena sesión. Creo que hubo un montón de participación y eso es bueno.
Al principio como que tardan en arrancar, pero después se van animando, ¿verdad?
I have nervous when I try to talk in English, so sometimes I can find the words, ¿no?
Al principio, como dices, es complicado, ¿no? Sobre todo porque pues falta un poco de seguridad. Después yo siento que se convierte en un reflejo. Así como puedes hablar en español sin pensar demasiado. Bueno, sin llegar al nivel de los políticos, ¿verdad? Pero sí, o sea, simplemente reaccionar a la pregunta y lo están haciendo bastante bien. A mí me llama mucho la atención, como dicen que les cuesta trabajo y proceden a hacerlo excelente. Entonces, está bien, está bien. Yo les voy a seguir echando porras. Iván, dime.
Teacher, I can finish the class with a famous phrase.
Please do.
Listen, the great power, it's a great responsibility. Ben Parker.
And that's why I love comics, because you can find a lot of knowledge there. Not only in this case philosophical, but always you can always find scientific. I think that my interest in science started when I was a little kid reading Batman. I loved everything technological because of Batman. And I think that a generation of scientists, you can quote this into the Big Bang Theory, a big generation of scientists started their interest because of comic books as science fiction. I think it's awesome. And that's a great phrase, Iván. One of my favorites, actually. Muy bien, excelente. Recuerden votar, ahí está la encuesta. No olviden igual, si tienen dudas, lo que practiquen, lo podemos revisar el jueves. Pregúntenme sus dudas, no se las queden. No sean envidiosos con ellas. Bien, vamos a dejarlo hasta acá. Nos pasamos un poquito, pero bueno, ya saben que así es esto. Descansen, cuídense mucho. Nos vemos el jueves. ¿Vamos?
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, teacher. Good night, everyone.
See you.
See you. Have a nice night.